You're tuned into Inside Lowell. Inside Lowell podcast brought to you in part by Washington Savings Bank, serving the greater Lowell community for over 130 years. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank.
WellPoint. Unicare is now WellPoint. New name, same commitment to Massachusetts. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point.
Boston North Company, offering a wide variety of business solutions to help restaurant and retail clients save money. Boston North. Mahoney Oil Company, providing warmth and protection to families in Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. That's Mahoney Oil. Francis E. Preventia Insurance. For auto, home, business, and life, trust the agency Greater Lowell has counted on for more than 40 years. Francis E. Preventia Insurance. GoPuff, a grocery store right at your fingertips. Use the code Lowell20 to receive $20 off your first order of $21, plus free delivery. Download the GoPuff app or visit gopuff.com today. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Tsonga Center in Lowell. Get your tickets today by visiting masspiratesfootball.com. And now, time for another Inside Lowell podcast. Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Inside Lowell podcast. I am your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the WellPoint Studios here in downtown Lowell. Unicare is now WellPoint. New name, same commitment to you. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. And we thank our friends at WellPoint for helping to make this podcast possible. And we thank all of our sponsors for making our podcast possible and all of Inside Lowell possible. We welcome you here for our weekly City Council discussion. And I'll have to ask you to forgive me here as I kind of bounce around with my little mouse here on these camera shots because my batteries died, unfortunately. You, what did you do? Did you take out my good batteries there, Councilor Leahy?
I got rid of CVS, so you can't go get.
And I couldn't run and go get them. I know. I'd have to drive out. I guess it happens at the radio station a lot. They have to run out and get batteries in the middle of the show.
Pay the meter.
So, City Councilor John Leahy is joining us here. Thanks for getting all dressed up for me. If I had known you were gonna wear a suit, I would have probably at least showered or something.
Yeah, it's all right.
So, how you doing? Fun meeting last night. We're recording this for those who don't know on Wednesday morning, April 24th. Last night was one of those rare long meetings. It almost felt like 2022 and 2023 out there on the council floor.
Well, my meetings went quick, and Mayor Sakari Chow, and this was unusual for Mayor Rourke, so it was a long meeting.
But when you looked at the agenda, though, you kind of knew, and then you saw the parade of speakers lining up, especially regarding the schools, the neighborhood schools issue.
And it's good to know that people are involved and they're down there and they're participating, so that was good.
Good. Yes, participation is always good. I do wonder sometimes, though, like, when you see the same people participating over and over again, and they say they're speaking for people, it'd be nice sometimes if some of the regular people showed up and actually spoke for themselves rather than having their quote-unquote representatives.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never know. And I do get the sense that some of the councils, your colleague, Councilor Rita Mercier, certainly seemed like she was swayed on that neighborhood school issue. Let's start with that if we can. Because you spent a decade on the school committee, and now you've got over a decade now on the city council. You're a grizzled vet at this point. Yeah. But this isn't the first time the neighborhood schools issue has come up, and we've seen it come up on the council floor. We've seen it come up on the school committee floor, and it always seems to end the same way. Either it gets pushed off for a study or something, and then never reappears until the next motion. It kind of struck me last night. Is it time to just put this issue away in Lowell? You know what? It's just not going to happen. We're not going back. There's too many people that are actively going to fight it, and whether we should have the discussion or not, it just seems like nobody even wants to have that discussion anymore. Is it time to end this from somebody who spent a lot of time on both sides of this issue?
Sure. No, I don't think it's time to end it. But what I do think is, sometimes roadblocks get put up for whatever crazy reason. So I think last night, the point being that I think it was well intended. The mayor is the chair of the school committee. Councilor Scott was a school committee member. So right off the bat, people took offense to it for whatever reason, and they put their hands up. So I think now we have Councilor Dakota, who's well-versed in this. You got the mayor, and you got other councilors who are well-intended. So bring it back through the school committee, if you will. Open up the discussion to both sides, and let people who know about this, like John Dakota, the superintendent, other parents, other educators, and let's have a full-blown discussion and see what we can do.
But that didn't even happen last night. That became the substitute motion, and even that
right
got shot down.
Because it got a little confusing, too. If you watch the meeting, we didn't even know what motion we were voting on towards the end, and that kind of turned me off. So let's bring it back, organize it a little bit better, bring it back, and then let's have a full discussion on it and see what we can do. Councilor Dakota said he didn't think it should be discarded completely, but just tweak it to make it better. So what's wrong with that?
But now it almost seems like it's going to have to be brought up by the school committee, and just like looking at it, I'm not sure they want to touch it because this has been thrown in their lap before, right? Just a couple of years ago, wasn't there a motion again that was supposed to go? Either it started on the school committee or was supposed to go to the school committee, and it hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, and again, the makeup has changed every 2 years. So let's bring it forward now. Let's have these seasoned veterans, parents, educators again. We got a great superintendent in charge now. Let's let them take a look at it and see what's best. I mean, I don't really know. My kids are out of the system now. Of course, I care about it, but, let them handle it. I have enough on my plate with the city council issues and my own personal life, and, let them deal with it. That's what they're there for.
But it does, the budgeting of it, the costs and stuff that are associated, eventually do come back to some degree to the city, do they not?
Yeah, well, I mean, it all comes down to the city as a whole. So we're all paying for education, whether you have children in the system or not. I mean, we're all paying for it.
Mm-hmm. Is there a way it could work? As you sit here and look at it, do you think that it sounds like you're not ready to write the idea off, though some people do. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'd love to have heard more of the case for doing it and why it would work statistically. What I do know is that it's been done in other cities, though. Other cities that have had consent decrees, and most famously Boston. And, as bad as Lowell was in the 80s, we weren't Boston in the 70s. Right. And Boston has moved on from it and been able to at least modify their consent decree or move on from it. So it's an idea that it's not new. There is a roadmap there, but it just seems like here in Lowell, anytime you try to enact any kind of change, no matter what that change is, man, there'll be a group that comes out there and, pick the issue. People just don't like change in this city.
No, but as you know, if you took everybody on a Saturday night and brought them into the kitchen and asked them how to make your favorite plate, you'd have 25 different opinions and 25 different people throwing different ingredients in. Too many cooks in the kitchen. So let the people who are very familiar with this start the conversation, listen to the input, and let's see what comes out of it. But last night, just towards the end, it was too confusing and I was out of sorts at the end when we didn't even know people were making substitute motions. There was a substitute motion on the floor, and maybe I'm getting it confused with something else, but we should have voted for the motion that had a second and not gone back to the first. So, I mean, it really got a little crazy at the end. So it just turned everybody off, and it was going to fail anyway. So I appreciate what Councilor Dakota put forward, the mayor and Councilor Scott, but they know this issue. I'm familiar with it. They know it.
Right. The meeting did get contentious on another issue, the Hamilton Canal Innovation District and Sal Lepoli's contract with the city, and whether it was time to pull the plug or whether we should pull the plug in public, do it in executive session, or go into negotiations. You get caught in the middle of that, and I do want to address that because Councilor Robinson said you have a conflict of interest, and you shouldn't even be discussing it or voting on it. We could hear your voice in the background speaking up. Are you conflicted with that vote?
No, I mean, I checked with the ethics. As you said, I've been doing this for a while. I know what the procedure is. I checked with the ethics committee, and there is no conflict. It's something that I'm related to, but doesn't affect me directly. So.
Okay. So when did you check with ethics, and do you get, it was asked, do you have a written communication? Do you have a written communication?
Well, I don't have a
ethics?
written communication because when I asked them, I said, can you send me that in writing? And the answer was basically, we're having the conversation now. It's recorded and filed with the clerk's office, and you'll be all set. So the clerk's office knows about it. There is a form that I have to officially fill out from the ethics committee, but we didn't take any big votes on it yet. So I'll get that in this week. My unofficial paperwork is in, but you know.
And to be fair and clear, and I have found this through my years, and it's stunning to me that the Ethics Commission issues rulings over the phone to people who call instead of something in writing that could be, certified proof. But this has happened many times. It's come up many times in Lowell. So that is normal. But you say there is paperwork that you will have at some point. Okay. In terms of the conflict, so for folks who didn't get that part of the meeting last night, your wife has owned a business for a long time.
10
It's
years, over 10
boutique,
years.
a salon, and it's on a building in 𝒊𝒐𝒏𝒕 where that Sal Lepoli owns. So she's had this long before this Hamilton Canal issue came up. And your wife pays rent? The business pays rent,
They have
I
a
should
contract,
say.
and the terms of the contract, and the rent goes up every year, so there's no discounts, and it's a strict business deal, and that's the way it is.
You haven't benefited financially, and neither has your wife.
I'm married, but I'm not in the business. My name's not on the business. It's her business.
But by supporting this developer in a completely different project in the city where you're an elected official, you're not benefiting roundabout from your wife, are you?
No. And I'm not getting any benefits out of it. We don't get free food, free anything.
You don't get those giant slices of
we
pizza?
don't get anything like that. And again, I run my business. She runs her business. She does very well. Very proud of her, and she's doing a great job. And it's strictly that. And my role with the Lepoli company is, as a counselor, we want to see projects that benefit the city, and that's it. Been doing this for 20 plus years, and it's not about me. It's about doing a job for the city. So.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of clarify that, because a lot of people might not have been watching that. And I didn't find out until a couple of years ago that your wife's boutique was there, even though I've known about her business. But so what you can talk about in terms of that development, you seem to have been there's two different camps on this. Some are saying, you know what, he's not building what he promised, get him out. I don't care what excuse he's using. He's making up his excuses, yada, yada. There are others who are saying, hey, listen, he's willing to develop there. Nobody else is knocking down the door to develop today. Nobody else has been knocking down the door to develop for the last 15 years at HCID.
Right.
Let's get something is better than nothing. Is it safe to say you're in that something is better than nothing camp?
But let me clarify that not anything is better than nothing. Something of a project that was presented to us seemed like a good project. So with COVID, everything's changed. There was a LDA in progress or whatever, in production, and things have changed. Timelines have changed, obviously. So Lepoli company came back with what they wanted to do. They were in business to make money. Now it's up to us to take a look at it and have DPD and the manager present it back to us and say, you know, this is what they're presenting. You saw that. This is what we want. What's the discussion? And that's where it should be. It shouldn't be personal. I mean, those lots have been empty for 40 plus years. I want to see a good project go on. And you followed this for the last, well, probably 30 years too. And every time the council changes, right, we want housing. We don't want housing. We want commercial. We don't want commercial. We want industry. We want a mix. We don't want, we want market rate. No, we want workforce. How many times has it changed, right? Every 2 years we have different opinions. So we don't want all subsidized housing. We have to take care of everybody in society, right? Everybody in our city. But we can't keep building subsidized housing and not have anybody with some money to spend in the city, disposable income. So it's a great place to have market rate housing. People come in, some amenities, it'll clean up the area. We have to help out and move that shelter, get everybody the proper housing and attention that they need, medical, professional, help them get jobs. So we have a lot of work around there, but you know, we can't keep building subsidized housing and just throwing people in a building and saying we did our job. We're done. We're not. Housing, education, jobs. That's what we have to do. We have to complete it.
So as you said, I've kind of followed this, and I'm a big proponent of making that a commercial development, that whole thing. I thought the whole point of the name change to Hamilton Canal Innovation District was to do all, start to do all commercial development. We put the housing up there very early in this project. So I'm okay with saying, you know what, thank you, but you can't build it. We're going to hold out hope. So I understand that. The one concern I do have in it, and I didn't start really thinking about it until I have to give credit to Casey Crane on WCAP for saying it the other day, is the message to developers, Lowell is not a place. They'll turn on you. And why I say that is,
they know that already.
I agreed with the decision to say to Trinity, hey, you've sat still on this go. Okay, boom, they're gone. Yeah. Then we brought in, tried to get other people in, and nobody's beating the door.
We didn't want housing.
Right.
And then now there's 2 buildings over there.
Right. So Wynn came in, did more housing. Now Lapoli came in. And if this thing is broken off with him and it ends in a bad way rather than, kind of a common agreement, what's the message to other developers? I am a little bit concerned about that. Do you share that concern?
Yeah. And that's the reputation we're getting. We'll turn on you at a time. I mean, again, the ideas over there have bounced back and forth, back and forth. I even brought up an idea one time to put the high school over there because we couldn't agree. It was dividing the city. And we said, look, it's
cost you the mayorship for 2 years, didn't it?
Well, no,
I think I remember that discussion.
That was an excuse for a backdoor deal. But, so we've had many ideas over there. I don't think it was wrong to build the parking garage before the housing. I think that makes a lot of sense, right? How many times have we built housing and then promised people parking and we don't deliver? So now the parking's there. Let's figure it out. If we don't come up with agreement with Lapoli companies, it's not personal. It's just business. He's in business to make money, not to be a good guy. And we're in business to make the city a better place to live and work. And that's what we need to do. But I don't think office space is the way to go right now. I mean, many companies are figuring out, right? They're giving up their leases and buildings are empty. And so,
I don't think you're getting a 13-story office tower. That said, and again, in fairness to Sal Lapoli, I have seen what has happened to development costs. He's not exaggerating about that. He probably could have been a little bit more political in how he said it in front of the subcommittee, but he wasn't wrong about the challenges to development. That said, UMass Lowell announced a month or so ago, a major development over there on East Campus, Lowell Innovation Network Corridor. And the gambler in me, because I don't have to face re-election, you do, and everybody else does, but the gambler in me says, man, if we kind of wait on those parcels and see when the full buzz comes out about what's going to happen at Link, I have a hunch that some other, if not developers, then companies who will hire these developers may say, you know what, we want to be there right next to 110 Canal Street, which is a UMass Lowell building. Are you willing to gamble? If the things with Salapoli can't work out, are you willing to gamble and just kind of sit on that property to see if Link can prove to link over to Hamilton Canal?
I think we might have to. So, let's see what happens. I mean, we just have to make a decision. Do we, right now, the biggest thing too is housing for the average Joe, I guess, right? I mean, my kids cannot afford to buy houses in the city anymore. I mean, you got to have a great job, probably 2 incomes. I mean, when we bought our houses, we could come up with the down payment and we could, do the renovations and get things going. But now with interest rates and housing costs, I mean, how do you get started? I mean, I guess in relation, my parents bought their houses in the teens and 20 and 30 and 40,000, and then we were buying our houses at 100 to 200,000, and now our kids are buying their houses which seems a lot higher, at 600,000 and 700,000.
You're measuring it in fractions of a million, $500,000, $750,000.
So we have to have some housing that people can afford, and it's going to be nice housing. Just don't cram projects together and say, hey, everybody can live over there because you can't afford to live in another neighborhood. I mean, every neighborhood has its own unique character to it. And I resent when people say, well, you live in Belvedere or you live in the Highlands and you don't live in the acre can be just as nice as any other section. You just have to have people participate and clean up where they live, and it'll spread out. If you clean up your property, the next guy should clean up his, and so on. And that's what we need. We need to get this energy back, and I'm proud to be from Lowell. I mean, my family is from Lowell. My aunts and uncles stayed here. My cousins, everybody's moving out. My kids are moving out. One's in California, one's in Providence. But so people don't stick around like they used to. But Lowell is a great city. Very proud to be here.
I agree with you on that. We're joined by City Councilor John Leahy here in the WellPoint studios. WellPoint, new name, same commitment to their members and to Massachusetts. One last topic, parking rates. Finally, last night, after what seems like years of discussion, debate, and public hearings and input and this and that, and even a little redesign, I was shocked by how quickly and quietly that passed. There were a couple of speakers who spoke in opposition, but I believe, what was it, a 10-1 vote in favor of the new parking rates?
Right.
Which will keep the meters active till 8 p.m. now in your downtown and in other the extensions. You were a yes vote. Why? Why'd you come around to a yes on that?
Well, I mean, it has to pay for itself. We need a few more meter people, and rates do go up. Everything's been going up. We need to take care of the buildings, the garages, and you need to have the budgets to do that. So things are going to go up. I mean, I don't live downtown, and the stinger, I think, with the parking isn't so much the parking, but it's your condo fees. I mean, if you live in a condo, then you get your condo fee, and now you have your parking fee. It's a lot. But parking has to go up a little bit, and we can't keep doing it every 10 years. Should gradually go up so people can ease into it. But again, I don't use the garages that frequently, and I don't mind it. I mean, I was over at the courthouse and I parked over there. It was a couple of dollars. But over the weekend, I was in Boston and I had dinner and walked around the seaport, and I think it was $25 or $30 for a few hours.
Yeah, try going to a Celtics game and playing $60. But is the concern, and one of the points that I heard last night is you're asking one neighborhood, and that is the downtown neighborhood, the downtown residents, to basically subsidize an entire parking issue in the city. Is that an accurate assessment?
I don't know if we're asking one neighborhood to subsidize it all, but that's where you live. I mean, and it's part of the cost of living downtown. So, unfortunately, I don't want to sound...
I don't mean to laugh at you.
I know, but I don't...
Ultimately, that's how I agree. Like, look, you chose to live in downtown, or you chose to open your business in downtown. That's
right.
That's why you get the benefit of the crowds that come into downtown, but there's costs that are...
No, there's costs. I mean, and again, it's maybe I'm not comparing apples to apples, but... when you go out to dinner, you pay for the valet to be right up front, or you pay and you walk. So, and those costs do have to go up. I mean, you can't say keep the rates the same and keep them low, 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 and then not have clean garages and security and proper people working. I mean, it's just all part of it.
And I've been part of a group chat of downtown business owners who there's kind of a mixed opinion. There's a bunch like me who kind of say, you know what, I think we should give it a try. So I did a little looking around to see. So Nashua enforces till 7 p.m. And I think we'd all love a downtown like Nashua's, but they're 7 p.m. But Manchester is 8 p.m. Boston is 8 p.m. Somerville, Charlestown, Cambridge, they're all 8 p.m. And I don't hear people saying, well, I'm not going there because I have to feed the meter at 8 p.m. But there is some level of fact that there's this mentality in Lowell. Yeah. And what I'm trying to figure out, is it just the people in the outskirts of Lowell, in the neighborhoods, who don't want to pay for parking in their own city? Or is this a mentality for the people in Westford, Andover, Chelmsford, et cetera? That's what I'm curious to find out, is now that we finally rolled this out.
I like to put it as it's a Lowell thing. We don't like to pay for parking.
we want to park right outside the front door of the business we're going to, and if not, we'll go somewhere else.
Right. So
we'll go to Andover and walk 3 blocks.
Yeah, and pay their costs. I mean, last time I was in Manchester, it was a few years back, and yes, up until 8 o'clock, you had to pay, and they had a meter person walking around. But the thing that I thought was ironic was, they're getting you for $1. So it's like, well, all right, big deal. It's $1. It's 7 o'clock. I got to pay $1 to park here. Not a big deal. But as we all know, and this irritates you, somebody will park in front of your business for the whole weekend.
I see the same 2 or 3 cars through the years, depending on who the neighbors are.
Right.
Friday night, 5 o'clock, there they are, and they don't leave until Monday morning. I'm fortunate. So I always tell the people who ask me my opinion, I'm fortunate. My family business has a parking lot, one of the few downtown businesses that does. So discount whatever we say. But, it will hurt the other businesses. Yeah. No doubt. It has hurt, I think.
Somebody park in front of you. I mean, up on Middlesex Street, we built some more housing, and right in front of the deli shop, there's 2 spots, 15-minute parking. But people park there overnight, and they don't leave until 9 o'clock in the morning. It hurts the coffee shop around the corner. And on the weekend, if they park there, it hurts the businesses. So, it's not right. But we can't have the police going around ticketing every car. We can't have 20 meter people going around ticketing every day either. I mean, people do have to participate and do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Sounds like a Spike Lee movie. Yeah. City Councilor John Leahy, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank all of you for joining us as well on another Inside Lowell podcast. Apologies for the looking down. My batteries died, and John, I think, killed them anyway. So I had to do it the old-fashioned way with the switching camera angles. But till next time, please stay safe, everybody.